If you sell water purifiers to end customers, you probably already know that the problem isn't finding leads, but getting them to say yes. So in this video, I want to explain to you the exact structure to use in every one of your presentations, demonstrations, or appointments, so that customers listen to you attentively, overcome their doubts, and of course are naturally led to sign your rental or sales contract. To begin, let's start from the end, because your entire presentation should lead the client to believe in just one thing, and let's suppose that this is the main thing. We call it the one. Now, I'll give you some simple examples just to help you understand the basic concept. Suppose you have to tell your client, let's say, get across just one idea. And it could be, your water purifier is not a cost, but an immediate improvement in your daily life. Now, if the client truly believes in this idea, which is the number one, the big idea, they won't see the price as an obstacle, but actually as an obvious investment, a water purifier. After that, you need to know that the perfect presentation is designed to break down 3 other mistaken beliefs that your end customer might have about water dispensers. And you need to eliminate these beliefs perfectly and in a precise order, with a logic that quickly and naturally guides the client toward making a decision. So once you've communicated the main idea to your client, you'll encounter the first false belief, which we'll put here, namely the product. Because the client might think that one water purifier is as good as another, as long as it dispenses filtered water, as long as the water is cold, and so on. Here, you need to make them understand that not all water purifiers are the same. You need to make them think that your water dispenser is designed for their real needs, whether it's for the home, the office, the restaurant, and so on, that it offers visible, measurable, and immediate benefits, such as savings, convenience, well-being, aesthetics, and so forth. So you need to dispel the notion, let's call this number 2, that every water dispenser is the same, because that's not the case. Then we have another false belief. Let's put it here as our third. That is, he doubts himself. It might seem strange to you, but that's how it is. Because the customer, after realizing that the water purifier could be useful for them, starts to doubt themselves. In other words, they might think things like, I don't need a purifier because I drink tap water and I'm fine with that. Or bottled water has the taste I like, I have my favorite brand of bottled water, and so on and so forth. Here, you need to have the customer imagine, a higher level of living, a more comfortable lifestyle with the water dispenser, because it eliminates bottles, provides unlimited water that's always fresh, sparkling or still, and let's say also allows them to experience the freedom of no longer having to think about or worry about the quality of the water they drink. So your customer needs to start seeing your product not as an extra expense or just another item, but as a smart choice for comfort, daily health, savings, and all the various benefits that you already know about. However, it's important that they change the way they see themselves. And now let's move on to the last mini belief, which can still hold back your sales. And that's our fourth one, which is the external world. Because you need to know that your end customers are afraid of external situations. They think that external circumstances can, let's say, influence them into believing that the water dispenser isn't the product they need. So everything that doesn't concern the product itself or themselves, but rather relates to external situations. In this case, your end customer might think, for example, I can't afford the rental fee, or the water dispenser is complicated to install, complicated to maintain, or they might wonder whether the customer service really works, and so on and so forth. So in this case, to eliminate this false belief, you need to provide them with concrete evidence. This could be testimonials, reviews from other customers, practical demonstrations that address their doubts, or concrete data on consumption or the savings they can achieve. You need to make them understand that you offer payment terms that are simpler and more accessible than usual, and show them that you provide fast and continuous support, especially if you're talking about restaurants. If you're referring to HoReCa restaurants, you need to make them understand that even on Saturdays, Sundays, or holidays, if they call, you or your technicians will answer. So in this part, this last section, you address all their concerns and show that it's actually easier than they think to manage, own, and live with a water dispenser. After that, now that you've gone through this process and have broken down these three beliefs, you need to rebuild a perception of value. And how do you do that? You do it by summarizing everything that your client can ultimately get from you. But you need to do it in a broken down manner. Let me give you an example just to make it clear. Okay, from me, dear end customer, you get the water purifier, you get the installation, you get the support. Here's how much you can save on bottled water. Here's how the water dispenser placed in your kitchen has a positive impact aesthetically. Here's the daily well-being you can achieve, and here's the comfort almost automatic, in the sense of the convenience that you can enjoy thanks to the water dispenser. After that, you need to show how all of this is worth more than they thought. This is a key step because ideally you should isolate every element the customer receives, as I explained earlier, and make them understand that the value in terms of time saved, money, energy, well-being, and every other isolated element is greater than the monthly rental fee you are asking for, okay? And finally, you should also ask them some questions that help broaden their perspective. Some questions could be, dear customer, now that you've seen everything I offer you, you've seen the water dispenser, you've seen the rental fee, if all of this made your life easier every day, do you think it would be worth it? If you could eliminate, for example, bottles or heavy lifting or plastic and all that effort forever, would you want that? And if with a simple installment you could have all this, or if by selling just 3 bottles a day in your restaurant you could cover the daily cost of the water dispenser, would it be worth it? Questions like these are meant to engage them. After these questions, and especially after they've responded positively, they'll be more inclined to say yes to your proposal for a rental contract or a sales contract for your water dispensers. That's because at this point, it would be inconsistent with themselves to say no. And it doesn't matter what kind of customer you're serving, because this is a matter of human nature. The need to be consistent with the position one takes on a topic is a fundamental human principle. It doesn't matter whether you're dealing with restaurants, offices, homes, and so on. But be careful, because it's not enough to just ask the questions you saw above. So don't just stick to those, because it's not like you'll get more signatures on your contracts with just those questions. You need to apply this entire structure here, in the order I just explained to you. This video is coming to an end. And remember that every time you sit in front of a client, you shouldn't just tell them about the features of the purifiers, but make them experience why they should want it right away. And you can only do that with the structure I've shown you. In this way, you'll get more attention from clients, fewer objections and doubts, and of course, more signed contracts. Now, if you found this video useful, I invite you to click the subscribe button below and hit the bell icon so you'll receive notifications every time a new video comes out.